Hello everyone and welcome to another Halumin tutorial. Today we are going to be working with a Halumin freestyle set to capture these cool looking Nike Air Force One sneakers. I'm trying a little bit different format today. I'm going to be capturing in real time and just talking through the photo shoot as I go. That means this isn't going to be scripted and it's going to be a little less polished than some of my other videos. I hope that in walking through in real time, it'll be more informative on the process and you'll be able to walk through it with me and understand the time it takes as well as what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. If you like this style, let me know in the comments. These videos are made for you, so please let me know what you want to see. We're going to start off with our freestyle set, which is the Halumin H18 with speed lights, and we're going to be using an accessory leg. So we're only going to be using one of the legs for this demonstration, and the freestyle set comes with two, but we only need one for this. So it just goes to show you can really kind of make up your own configurations depending on what your needs are with Halumin. So in the case, it's very, very easy to set up, and that's one of the things that is important to remember if you're thinking about using Halumin in your business where you're going to be traveling and doing a lot of different locations. It's very quick to set up, and so if you imagine going from business to business and you're walking in with the Halumin and the speed lights in the case, you come in, pop it open, put it on the counter, and you are ready to start working. It folds back up really quick too, and you just move on to the next location. So I put the support legs into position to hold it open, and now I am putting the speed light straps into position as well. I've used the Halumin with my speed lights before, so I don't have to adjust the actual straps, which is one of the great things about the design that we came up with, is that once you configure those straps for your speed lights, they go in really quickly. I'm using Photo A10s for the demonstration today, and you can see they just click into place and we're ready to go. That's one speed light, and here comes the other one. Now, my entire career I've worked heavily with speed lights. I've always preferred them for their form factor. They're small, and the way that I like drama. I like lots of little spotlights. And so that was actually part of the design thinking on Halumin, was that, you know, having these smaller light sources that provide quite a lot of punch for their weight, you can make a small device that does a lot more. So looking at the clock there, that was 3 minutes from when I started rolling. So I talked a little bit at the beginning. So, you know, in under 3 minutes, you're ready to go. I've set the speed lights up at the same power. I put them both on 9. So they are, they're equal power, and that'll make it easier to kind of just use the Halumin to adjust the lighting and not have to dial in each speed light based on the intensity. You can change the effect of the light on your subject just based on how you position it with Halumin. And so I've added this accessory leg here. It's kind of a kickstand, and it's going to hold it at a slight angle, maybe like a 5% incline. So that's just going to give us a little bit of an angle with the light. Now for this setup, I want a white background. The reason for that is that a lot of my early demos, I loved the way it looked with a black background, but people kept asking me, like, does it have to be black? Can you do it on white? And you can totally do it on white. and it's super easy. So I've added this white piece of foam core, and this is what we're going to be capturing our sneakers on. The other thing that I'm going to do that is we haven't talked about a whole lot is these light control rings, these inner rings that are made out of a loop fabric. They are adjustable, so you can flip parts of it out or the entire light control ring out, depending on how you want to control the light on your subject. In this situation, when they're both pointed inward, make a very narrow plane of light that has a very, very quick drop off. It goes to black really fast. And so that's designed so that you can work in a tighter space and not have a lot of light bleeding all over the place. You can also isolate your subject because that light in that plane is so much brighter than your ambient light surrounding it. You can really isolate your subject in black, or you can add additional lights to light up the background, and they're not going to be affected by the light that's lighting your subject. In this scenario though, we want kind of an all-in-one solution, and so I want to illuminate this white background as much as possible to kind of create a high key situation. And the way to do that is just to open up that entire light control ring so that it points down. And that's going to let a lot more light flood downward. We're going to keep the top one pointed in. That's going to reduce the glare on the camera. And it's also going to keep a really nice plane where the light drops off pretty suddenly on the top. And this is important because the way that we want to work with the sneakers, there's a lot of details on them that we want to kind of like really accent that contrast. And there's certainly different ways of working. You don't have to do it like this, but I really like it when your foreground fades into that a little darker than the surrounding edges, and that will accentuate that texture, but it also just creates a moodier look, and that's what I prefer. But you can open both of them up and get a lot more light on a subject like this, so it's really whatever your preference is. But in this scenario, we want to really see those textures, and I want kind of a moodier look. So we're going to have a bright white background. Background's probably not going to be perfect in the shots, so you might have to do some post editing, or you can just do a quick cutout on your phone or any cutout app. It's really easy now, especially when you have so much separation between a colored sneaker and a white background. It's super easy to just get rid of the rest of that background. But it's going to get you really close, and in a lot of situations they would be photo ready. If you're doing this for a business for their daily content, any of the editing that you need to get that onto social media, you can do really fast on your phone. So I'm going to share with you just the right off the camera images as we go, and you can make up your own mind. But for this, we have the two speed lights that are powering the Halumin. The Halumin's at a slight angle, and we have a white background, and it's sitting, it's set up to do a flat lay scenario. So now we're going to get our sneakers out. We've got our Air Force Ones, and I just love the way that these look. They're super colorful. I'll put it here so we can see it better. And they've got a lot of different textures. There's a lot of detail work with the rubber, the way that it's formed. And then we've got a lot of different textures with the leather and everything as well. So we're going to, oops, we got a shoe fill in there. We're going to work to bring those out and really easily. Again, I haven't even started capturing yet, so let's get a shot down so you can see how quick this is. Again, we spent about 3 minutes setting this up, and if I was actually working and not talking to you, I would have taken my sneaker, put it down in the center of the staging area, and then I grabbed my camera, and I haven't actually even used this yet, so I don't know what it's set at. We're just gonna shoot a picture to see. That looks kind of amazing, actually. All right, so I'm gonna load that picture up there, but look at that. That's the first image, and this is the camera set at 1/400th of a second so that it's going to cancel out all of this lighting that I'm using for the video, and f5.6 and ISO 640. So that was really easy. Do another one here. Then we'll do an angle, and then a detail. Okay, so these are ultra white, and there's a little bit of a dark area on the top, but we really want to bring that contrast out. That's not bad, actually. You can really see the writing, the Nike, I don't know the name of the thing, but anyway, let's do a top-down shot. Oops, need to change where I'm focused. And so these are really quick sort of sales shots. They're not super artistic, but if you're throwing stuff online to sell it, it does a really good job of communicating what this is. And you see all those textures and those layers and the contours of the sneaker really well. But let's do a few more things that we can really show off. I've just got a piece of wood that I'm gonna use to prop this up a little bit. But I'm gonna try getting an angle on the heel of that sneaker a little bit and just see what I can do in terms of there we go. So there. So that's a pretty good detail of the what's going on with the bottom of the shoe. And up here, there's this sort of split pattern where the pattern of the tread kind of has a slice, and there's some really interesting textures going on there. So the angle that I have this at is great for it pushes that into the black in a really nice way, and that'll allow me to get the details to really show, because that black area, just trying to focus here, I don't quite have a macro enough lens on here, but yeah, so look at this. Look at all that detail that shows, and that's just because it's pushing the tread of the sneaker out of the illuminated area, and that little layer between where it's lit and where it's not gets a really angular hatchet lighting on it, and just brings out all of those textures. So you really see the details on the tread that are, you know, they're part of what makes this sneaker unique, and it's going to be a part of what is going to sell it to people. All of those little details that you might miss. Another thing we want to show is there's two different types of leather texture happening on the foot of this sneaker. This is really smooth. This part is really smooth, and then this part is really textured. So by raising the sneaker up in the illuminated area, we're gonna put it right at that threshold again, where the light is coming at a really hard angle, and you're gonna see the difference between that first top image that we captured and this one. So check this out. Look at the shoe, or what would you call this? Like the nose of the shoe? Look at how beautiful that is. You can really see the difference between those textures super clearly. And again, because of the way Halumin works, surrounding your subject with this thin bead of light, it doesn't allow for hard shadows to be produced, even though it's giving you that hatchet light and those hard textures. Do another image here of the tongue of the shoe with those laces. So that's maybe too high because that tongue is now out of the affected area of the light. So, and I'm using, by the way, a 70 to 24 lens. So this is a pretty common range. And it's just enough to give me a narrow enough focal length so that I'm not getting the Halumin in every shot. And again, if you were just doing some quick post images, these are, most of these are ready. This wouldn't necessarily, I'd do some cleanup if I was gonna use these on a campaign or an actual advertisement, but if I'm just putting these on social media, these look way better than an iPhone shot on a social media site, but it's just as easy as a light box. There was a 3-minute setup, and then I don't know how long we've been capturing images, but a few minutes in, we've got like 5 or 6 really nice images that completely show every direction of the shoe. So let's do some different angles. When we started off, we did a straight on shot, but if you watched the little short video that I did of another running tennis shoe, I had it suspended and I was setting it more like a traditional setup, where you would sort of suspend the sneaker and then you would build the light around it. You can actually kind of get that effect just by laying this in a flat lay. So we've just put it down, and I'm gonna capture this at an angle that's gonna show that tread. And that's maybe a little too low. Let's put this up higher. My very professional wood block. So we're just balancing this on top of that wood block. That's not quite enough of an angle. The sneaker actually has a kind of its own lean to it. It wants to lean towards the camera. That doesn't really work for me. Well, let's try something else, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's do 2 sneakers just so you can see, we can get that in there. We laid one down and we're gonna set one up like that. So these will focus heavily on the tread, and because of the angle that one is pointed up with, I imagine we're gonna get some really interesting stuff happening on that tread. I'm gonna scoot it down a little bit just so I don't get the Halumin in the image. Again, a lot of people ask, how much can you get in that 18-inch area? And you can actually get quite a lot of stuff in there if you just work with the angle. And also, if you don't mind whitening out those corners, unless you're shooting on a black background. But even in this scenario here, I've got that tread propped up, and it's just gorgeously lit. That was actually probably a better way to capture that angle than the one that I had on the wood block, because you can really see how that detail looks. Probably am taking a lot more images than I need, but that's just a habit. I'm gonna spin these around now. We did one that focuses really on the tread, and this will focus heavily on the tops here. More top down. So that's really pretty. All right, this is another one of the things that is amazing about this setup. We've shot a lot of different angles, which we just did, but let me show you. Say I had an interest in getting a completely different one that required a vertical orientation. In a traditional situation, there would be a lot of light stands and kind of moving flags around and stuff like that to get a lighting situation like that. But with Halumin, I'm just gonna take it, turn it on its end. There. That is ready for a vertical orientation image. So say I want to do something, I'm going to grab my screen from the studio camera and put it on my DSLR so I can see what I'm doing. But imagine that you wanted to move really quickly from those two things, and you weren't going to capture yourself in the setup, so I wouldn't be having to use a screen and everything in a real world situation, or maybe I would, but the point is that I am just messing around with the camera. The lighting is pretty much done. I'm not adjusting the lighting. I know it's gonna work because we've already adjusted it for that other arrangement. So in this scenario, I'm putting on my remote as well. Bear with me. This is the beauty of doing this in real time. I guess I could edit it out, but I'm just here to experience this entire process with you, and that means that there was some dead time in what we're doing. So I've got this set up now with the DSLR and the Halumin, and then the background is just kind of ugly. You can't really see it, but there's part of a gray wall there and part of this black background. So imagine that I wanted to take a picture of an artist holding their work, or a chef holding a plate of food, or just a sneaker collector holding one of their favorite sneakers. I'm just going to stage that shoe right where that light is gonna illuminate it. And it's a beautiful shot. Well, that wraps it up. Thanks so much for hanging with me for this session. Please let me know what you think, or if you have any recommendation for any future videos. These videos are made for you, so let me know what you want to know about Halumin.